order and call your attention to the Open Meetings Act posted here in the council chambers. If you now please join me in rising for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Here.
Arns.
Here.
Merrill.
Here.
McCarthy.
Here.
Murin.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Clausen.
Here.
Hildebrand.
Here.
Okay, with that, I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. If no discussion, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative. Motion carries.
Okay, would then look for a motion to approve the full agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. If no discussion, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative. Motion carries.
All right, that moves us to item number 27 on the council agenda under special presentations. And now we will have the Norfolk Morning and Noon Optimus Clubs recognize a member of the Norfolk Fire Division. Mark, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Thank you for this opportunity. Since Optimus International was formed in 1919, Optimus clubs have been built all around the world with 5 purposes in mind. One of those purposes is to inspire respect for law. And Optimus clubs around the world find various ways to do that. Here in Norfolk, what we've done the last several years is recognize someone from law enforcement, Norfolk Fire and Rescue, for their service. You know, we're looking at professionals who put themselves out there to protect our lives and property. We had the opportunity back in August during National Night Out to recognize a police officer and a member of the State Patrol. Tonight, during Fire Prevention Week, we're here to recognize someone from Norfolk Fire and Rescue. With that in mind, I would like to invite Lieutenant Robert Nelson to come forward, please. Are you surprised?
Apparently you didn't know. Did not get the.
Well, one year I gave it away mistakenly, so congratulations. I do have a short letter that I'd like to read from Fire Chief Tim Rogge. Okay. Norfolk Fire and Rescue would like to nominate Fire Lieutenant Robert Nelson as this year's Outstanding Firefighter and Respect for Law nominee. Bob began his career with Norfolk Fire and Rescue on August 1st, 1988. Bob currently serves as lieutenant on C Shift. During his career, Bob has shown much dedication to both fire and EMS within the organization. He is an extremely skilled and educated person with much to offer our young firefighters. As a paramedic, Bob has done everything from teaching CPR classes to teaching advanced care life support and pediatric advanced life support classes to his peers. His role as a lieutenant comes with the responsibility of helping mentor young paramedics and assisting with upkeep of our EMS protocols and training. On the fire ground, Bob's experience and years of service are invaluable assets. The changes that he has seen in the fire service over his career are things that he will speak of often to help better the team and keep us safe. Perhaps most impressive, or more impressive than all the aforementioned items, is what Bob has accomplished during the 2021 calendar years. Bob dealt with 2 significant health setbacks within months of each other that could have forced him to take another path in life and give up the fire service. Rather than taking that path, Bob chose to dig his heels in and prove there was nothing that could keep him on the sidelines. The determination that he displayed was remarkable. Bob vowed to come back stronger than ever, and he did just that. Fast forward to present day, and I look at Bob Nelson as Comeback Player of the Year at NFD. That is why we are honored to nominate him for this recognition, and we're honored to present you with our Respect for Law
Oh my goodness.
Certificate of Appreciation. I guess there's a little something for you and your family.
Wow, thank you.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
This is your chance, Bob, to give a speech.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if you knew me, you would probably regret doing that. It's been a privilege and a great thing to serve the citizens of Norfolk. And nobody can be more fortunate to do something that they love. And it's a love of what I've been able to do for the city that has kept me going, and I'm not done yet. So, thank you.
Very good. Good to hear. Thank you. All right. Well, I wanted to thank the Optimus Club, the noon and morning Optimus Clubs, for continuing this tradition of honoring and spotlighting our professional public safety officials. And congratulations once again, Lieutenant Robert Nelson. That moves us to our public hearings and related action section of the council agenda, item number 28. I will open this public hearing to consider amending the City of Norfolk Economic Development Plan to include film production activities and early childhood care and education programs. And to kick off the discussion on this and introduce this item, we'll hear from Andy Colvin, our Norfolk City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. What you have before you here is a fairly straightforward, simple amendment to our economic development plan. The city's economic development plan was adopted by the voters on July 10th of 2010, and since then the plan has been in effect. And even though the taxation and the use of new revenue coming into that is no longer there, there is money left in the economic development LBA 40 fund. So what we've done over the years, and this has happened once before, is amend that ordinance to allow all eligible uses of state permits, because that's changed over the last decade or so. We did so in 2019 by adding retail, and now we're bringing another amendment to the plan for film production and early childhood child care. So this is a simple, straightforward amendment, so any remaining funds we have in the LBA 40 program can be used, or eligible to be used for those purposes.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Any questions on that? And Andy, remind me, there is a citizens advisory committee on this that hears these different adjustments and amendments and proposals, correct?
Yeah, I apologize for not mentioning that. Yes, the Citizens Advisory Committee did look at this and signed off on it.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so anyone wishing to make comment can do so now. Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I will move to close the hearing and move on to item number 29. Would consider a motion to consider ordinance number 5749, approving an amendment to the Economic Development Plan to include film production activities and early childhood care and education programs.
Your Honor, I present ordinance number 5749 for consideration.
Second?
Motion and second. Any further discussion on this, council? Questions or comments? Okay. Hearing none, short title, please.
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Madison County, Nebraska, to amend the City of Norfolk Economic Development Plan to include film production and early childhood care and education as qualifying businesses, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for the publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Okay, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5749 carries on first reading.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and pass the ordinance on second and third.
Second.
Motion and second to suspend the rules and approve on second and third readings. If no discussion, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5749 carries on second and third.
Okay, that takes us to our regular agenda, item number 30. We look for a motion to consider ordinance number 5743, approving areas of proposed annexation to amend the corporate limits as authorized by section 16-117, Nebraska Revised Statutes of 1943, As a note, ordinance number 5743 passed on first reading at the September 7th, 2021 City Council meeting and passed on second reading at the September 20th, 2021 City Council meeting. And given state statute, which requires that both first and second readings have public hearing and public discussion, but third reading does not include discussion, we will move to, I will ask for a short title and then a vote on this ordinance.
Your Honor, I'd offer for consideration ordinance number 5743 on third reading.
Okay, motion and second.
Your Honor, I will be abstaining from item number 30 on the agenda.
Your Honor, I will also be abstaining from item number 30. Your Honor, I'll be abstaining also.
Okay. All right, again, given that there is no discussion on this item, I will ask for a short title, please.
An ordinance of the city of Norfolk, Nebraska to annex to said city a part of sections 9, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24, 25, 29, 30, 31, 32, 34, and 35. Township 24 North, Range 1 west of the 6th PM, Madison County, Nebraska, and part of sections 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, and 16. Township 23 North, Range 1 west of the 6th PM, Madison County, Nebraska, and part of section 24 and the east half of section 25, Township 24 North, Range 2 west of the 6th PM, Madison County, Nebraska, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and provide that this ordinance shall be published in pamphlet form.
Okay, please vote.
Voting in the affirmative, Granquist, Merrill, McCarthy, Jackson, Hildebrand. Abstaining from the vote, Arns, Murin, and Clausen. Ordinance number 5743 carries on third reading.
Okay, with that, we move to item number 31. I would look for a motion to consider resolution number 2021-46 to provide a November 30th, 2021 end date for collection of lodging and food and beverage occupation tax and direct the remaining occupation tax to be used for improvements at Veterans Memorial Park and Tahazuka Park.
I'll make a motion for consideration of resolution number 2021-46.
Okay, motion and second. And for some background on this, Randy Gates, our city finance officer. Randy, please.
Yes, at the November 2nd, 2010 general election, voters approved a $16.4 million bond issue to fund the water park, along with baseball and soft and football improvements at Memorial Park and Tahazuka Park. The City Council enacted lodging, food, and beverage occupation taxes effective February 2011 to fund debt service on the bonds, with a sunset provision that requires occupation taxes to terminate upon the bonds being paid. The original bonds had a final maturity of December 15th, 2030. In 2016, the city refunded the bonds and used $2 million of accumulated occupation tax to pay off a portion of the bonds and shorten final maturity to December 2023. We now anticipate that we can cease collection of this occupation tax on November 30th. That would be the last date that the businesses would collect this tax from their customers. This is the occupation tax that would be owed to the city by those businesses on December 27th, 2021 for monthly filers and January 25th, 2022 for quarterly and annual filers. We plan to call the remaining bonds for payment in January 2022, almost 2 years prior to the final scheduled payment and almost 9 years early from the original maturity of December 2030. Resolution 2021-46 provides any remaining occupation tax will be used for improvements at Veterans Memorial Park and Tahazuka Park, consistent with the original $16.4 million bond issue. That answer any questions?
Okay, thank you, Randy. Any questions on this, council?
Randy, do you have any idea what's available at the present date?
We've still got 3 months worth of occupation taxes to collect before we'll be calling these bonds in. We haven't yet collected in our hands the September occupation tax. Of course, we haven't collected the October or November occupation tax. we get, I think, about 175 or 80,000 a month on average.
Okay.
So we're probably short from being able to pay these off now by $550,000, something approximately in that area. I did not actually look to see what we had in our hands at this time, but we think we'll have, if the tax continues to come in like it did last year, somewhere in the neighborhood of $80,000 to $85,000 occupation tax left after we pay these off. But that's an estimate. It could be more or that, or it could be less than that.
Sure.
But it'll be, I don't think it'd be way far off from that.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you.
Any other questions? So, Randy, just, I think it's worth emphasizing this point. This was a voter-approved initiative, 2010, that called for about $16.5 million in funding to make public improvements to the Memorial Park facility. We're able now to pay those bonds off associated with that about 9 years earlier than projected,
Yes.
correct? Okay, all right.
We were pretty conservative in our estimates since we didn't have good numbers to base those occupation tax collections on.
Sure.
So
Yep.
I expected they would pay off early. I'm surprised they paid off this early.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's probably a combination of things, conservative in our assessments, also helping facilitate and encourage new growth in the service industry in recent years, which has broadened the tax base and allowed us to pay off this commitment earlier than expected, which is a good thing for everybody. So it worked like it was supposed to work. All right, any other discussion on this, council, before we vote? Okay, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, resolution 2021-46 is adopted.
Moves us to item number 32. Would entertain a motion to consider ordinance number 5750, authorizing issuance of combined utilities revenue bonds in the principal amount not to exceed $5,300,000 to fund improvements to the solid waste transfer station.
I'll offer for consideration ordinance number 57.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. And again, for some background on this, Randy Gates, please.
This bond issue will authorize up to $5.3 million of utility bonds to fund the master plan improvements for the transfer station. Those include new maintenance buildings, scale house, a lot of concrete surfacing, site security, et cetera. The budget had $5.2 million bond issue in there for this improvements, and we're still expecting that's about what we'll need for bonds, but we're doing this as a competitive sale. Because it's being done as a competitive sale, we usually let the bidders bid either premium or discount bonds, and if they decide to do this as a discount issue, there may be a higher par value of the bonds than their actual, to get the actual $5.2 million we want to go into the project. I doubt that will happen. I expect the opposite will happen, that these will probably be sold as premium bonds, but you never know for sure. Interest rates will be based on the successful bidder's submission, and this is a 20-year bond issue with a 5-year call. Staff recommend passage on all 3 readings, which will accommodate the bond sale, which is planned now for probably around October 19th or 20th. Bruce Leffler from Piper Sandler, who's the fiscal advisor on this issue, is here tonight. Neither he or I can answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Randy. Any questions? Hearing no questions or discussion, short title, please.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of combined utilities revenue bonds, Series 2021 of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, in the principal amount not to exceed $5,300,000 for the purpose of paying the costs of maintaining, extending, enlarging, and improving the waterworks plant and water system, sanitary sewer plant and sewer system, and solid waste transfer facilities owned by the city, pledging and hypothecating the revenues and earnings of the waterworks plant and water system, sanitary sewer plant and sewer system, and solid waste transfer facilities owned by the city for the payment of said bonds, providing for the issuance and sale of the bonds, authorizing officers of the city to award the sale of the bonds to the bearer providing the most favorable bid to the city at public sale, authorizing the delivery of the bonds to the purchaser, and ordering the ordinance be published in pamphlet form.
Okay, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5750 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, due to the time necessary to get these out for bid, I'm going to propose we suspend the rules and pass ordinance number 5750 on second and third.
Motion and second to suspend the rules and approve on second and third readings. If no discussion, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5750 carries on second and third.
And that is it for tonight. We are concluded and adjourned.